I'm Commissioner of Agriculture Steve Troxler, and today I want to talk about our Agricultural Research Station Division and the work that we do in agricultural research across North Carolina. Agricultural research in North Carolina was first founded about 1877. This was about the time the Department of Agriculture was created, and I hate to admit it, but it's actually started in a chemistry lab at UNC Chapel Hill. So we've come a long ways since that time, but through it all, the research stations in the beginning were flipped back and forth between the Department of Agriculture and NC State University. But today, we have an unbelievable partnership that allows us to operate 18 research stations across North Carolina. These research stations are strategically positioned from southeastern North Carolina to an elevation of 3,500 feet in the mountains. This allows us to take advantage of our diversity of climate and soils in North Carolina to do research that can be used by all farmers in North Carolina as well as other states. We can actually emulate climates that range all the way from northern Florida up to the Midwest. So it's an important thing that we do in North Carolina. It's a very diverse operation. It's one that is pretty unique in the United States, and not everybody has these partnerships between the university system like we do. A&T State University has a research farm in Guilford County, but they also do research on our farms all across North Carolina. So I hope to enlighten you as to the value of research stations today and the things that we do. I have with me today one of our youngest researchers. He happens to be my youngest grandson, Summit Stephen Troxler, and the Summit actually is because my farm is in Brown Summit where his daddy was raised, and I think maybe you can get the Stephen part of it. He is actually my namesake, so we're extremely proud to have him with us. Why agricultural research? Agriculture in North Carolina is a $92.7 billion industry, an industry that never stands still. We always have to be pushing forward to be able to feed this 10 billion people that will be on the earth by the year 2050. Over time, there are a lot of constants in agriculture. The weather is a constant. It's always too hot. It's always too cold, it's always too wet, and it's always too dry. Good agricultural policy certainly drives success, but the one thing that has moved us forward has always been agricultural research. At the turn of the 20th century, we were actually subsistence farmers in North Carolina in the early 1900s. We had a crop called tobacco that provided cash for us to be able to educate our kids and do some other things. But agricultural research has led us into the diverse agricultural programs that we now have in North Carolina. In fact, national research that has been done shows that for every dollar invested in agricultural research, there's a return of $19.90 on investment. I think any business person would like to have a part of that, so we're proud to be doing the agricultural research that we do in North Carolina. I mentioned that we have 18 research stations across the state. 6 are owned by NC State University, 12 are owned by the Department of Agriculture, but who owns them makes no difference. We work in a partnership so close, you can't tell the difference in which is which. Over the last year, we did over 1,200 research projects on the stations. We had over 455 educational days on the station. So it's a collaborative effort from a lot of different entities to make this work and to make it successful. Our goal is to have a $100 billion industry in North Carolina very shortly, and agricultural research will carry us to that point. I have joining me here at the Upper Piedmont Research Station, Superintendent Joe French. Joe was a longtime employee of the Research Stations Division at NC State University. He actually has a doctorate in animal reproductive physiology It's hard enough to say, and I can't imagine how hard it was to get that degree, but we're very proud of the work that he does. The work here is primarily beef cattle research now, and I'm going to let Joe explain some of the work that's done here on this farm and the importance to our beef cattle producers.
Okay. Yeah, this research station has about 200 head of registered Black Angus cows, and those were donated from the pens in the 1950s along with the property. So we've been designated as a historic herd of cattle by the American Angus Association, which is a really neat backdrop for a long-term research model. And right now we have about 3 different main areas of research that we're working with. And one is dealing with fescue toxicity, which plagues everyone, especially in the southeast and now all the way through the Midwest with fescue issues. And for years and years, ever since I've been here, we have worked continuously with trying to improve reproduction by improving synchronization protocols for artificial insemination. The third main area that we've worked a lot with for the past 12 to 15 years has been with feed efficiency. And obviously that's something that's will save people a tremendous amount of money, because the most expensive part of beef production is feed. And so what we have found is there's a great diversity in animals as far as not just how they gain, but the efficiency of gain. So how well they convert the feed to muscle. And so those are the 3 big research efforts that this station has worked on over the past several years.
Knowing that you have 200 mama cows here, and we would hope that there are 200 calves that you were able to obtain this fall, it takes a lot of feed to feed these cattle, and I noticed that you've got great crops of corn. I know you've been baling hay, but just how much does it take to feed those 200 mama cows and their calves?
We still buy supplemental feed for different ages of animals depending upon their nutritional needs. So we'll use 30 acres of corn silage each year and about 1,200 bales of hay and about 40 to 60 tons of supplemental feed. So do the math, it's quite a lot.
It is a lot of feed, and I have witnessed being up here the amount of feed that is actually raised on other research stations that is brought in here to help it, and that's part of that partnership. We operate as one in the research station division, and it's been very successful. This is just one example of the things that we do in the research station division. We are so diverse in crops. We rank number 3 nationally in diversity, so we're doing research on all of our specialty crops, our field crops, cattle, hogs, you name it, we're doing it. Poultry research at the Piedmont Research Station. This is a vital link to the future for North Carolina and the country, and it's something that we are very, very proud of, and something that we will continue to grow. Modernization of these stations was made possible as Dean Richard Linton at NC State and I went to the legislature and asked for money to upgrade. This tractor is an example of what we could do with that money. If you look on the top of it, there's also a GPS unit on the top of it, so we're able to use precision agriculture at these research stations for efficiency and to help other farmers across the state become more efficient.